It was a humid afternoon in Fort Worth, Texas, when the atmosphere at a human rights campaign fundraiser reached a fever pitch. The venue, a grand hall with soaring ceilings and polished glass walls, was packed with activists, political insiders, and supporters eager to celebrate progress in civil rights. At the center of it all stood Representative Jasmine Crockett, known for her fiery rhetoric and unapologetic candor. That day, she came prepared for a fight, armed with a reputation built on rapid comebacks and bold statements. But what happened that night would soon spiral into a national scandal. As the event unfolded, Crockett took center stage, microphone in hand, and launched into a passionate rant about Governor Greg Abbott's stance on LGBTQ rights. With a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth, she delivered a line that would prove to be her undoing. Governor Hot Wheels wants to roll over everyone's freedom. The comment, intended as a biting metaphor, took a dark turn when she mocked a disabled man in a wheelchair, reducing him to a punchline amid her rant. For a split second, the room fell unnervingly silent, not the respectful quiet of a somber moment, but the kind of stillness that vibrates with shock. Some in the audience exchanged uneasy glances, while others offered nervous chuckles that quickly turned to murmurs of disapproval. Within minutes, the short 20-second clip of her remark exploded on Twitter. Hashtags like hashtag HotWheelsGate and hashtag Crockett Controversy began trending, and the internet lit up with outrage. News anchors, pundits, and online commentators dissected every syllable, igniting a firestorm that reverberated across the nation. Meanwhile, in a modest office in Fairfax, Virginia, Cash Patel, a veteran legal strategist known for his methodical, no-nonsense approach, watched the controversy unfold on a muted screen. Patel had been following Crockett's career closely, noting a pattern of increasingly aggressive rhetoric that often teetered on the brink of recklessness. To him, this wasn't just an isolated comment. It was the latest chapter in a troubling saga of unchecked power and zero accountability. With a measured calm, Patel began to compile his evidence. He flipped through archived clips, internal emails, and even Reddit threads where Crockett's past jabs had been meticulously documented. One particular clip, recorded during a local school board hearing, showed her snapping at a parent and accusing them of being on the payroll of hate. Each piece of evidence added up, a tapestry of incendiary remarks that, taken together, painted a damning portrait of a politician who had become intoxicated by attention. Back in Fort Worth, as the viral clip continued to dominate online discussions, the tension in Crockett's own campaign headquarters grew palpable. Inside a cramped conference room with frosted glass and buzzing fluorescent lights, her closest aides, campaign manager Lane Corbin, press relations head Mia Granger, speechwriter Leon Haskins, and junior aide Roxy, gathered in urgent whispers. Phones buzzed, and frantic text messages flew across the room. "We need to address this immediately," Lane urged, his voice tight with worry. "If we don't pivot, this isn't just a social media scandal. It could cost you your seat next year." Yet, despite the mounting pressure, Crockett remained defiant. Her eyes, filled with a mix of stubborn pride and unyielding resolve, betrayed nothing as she sat silently, her fingers drumming lightly on a stack of notes. The fallout wasn't confined to her inner circle. Across the country, reactions poured in from every corner of the political spectrum. In Dallas, a conservative veteran named Bruce Halterman, who had suffered severe injuries in Iraq, recorded a raw, emotional video from his wheelchair. "Mocking a man's dignity isn't critiquing policy, it's cruelty," he declared, his voice trembling with pain. His video, unfiltered and heartfelt, quickly amassed millions of views, intensifying the national outrage. In a downtown cafe in Brooklyn, a group of young women gathered around a smartphone, their faces illuminated by the screen's glow as they rewatched the controversial clip. "This is a wake-up call," one whispered fiercely. "We fought so hard for our voices to be heard, and now we're being mocked for it." Their discussion, earnest and impassioned, reflected a broader debate raging in homes and on social media. Was Crockett's defiant rhetoric a sign of strength, or had it crossed a line into callous disregard for human dignity? Amid the growing storm, Cash Patel's carefully crafted video analysis, titled Cash Patel, Enough is Enough, began to circulate online. In his 19-minute exposé, Patel laid out every controversial moment from Crockett's past, including the Hot Wheels remark, the biting Ted Cruz comment, and even an offhand insult during a college panel where she accused a student of representing fascism. His voice was measured and analytical, each word delivered with the precision of a seasoned prosecutor. When leaders mock those they serve, they betray public trust, he said, his calm tone cutting through the chaos. Patel's video soon racked up millions of views, resonating with viewers who craved accountability and thoughtful discourse over political theater. As the days wore on, the backlash began to chip away at Crockett's once fierce image. In her D.C. office, staffers whispered in hushed tones about shifting support and dwindling approval numbers. A local newspaper from Dallas ran a front-page editorial titled, "The Arrogance of Power: Why Crockett's Words Matter," questioning whether her relentless defiance was undermining the very values she had vowed to uphold. Even some of her longtime Democratic colleagues started to distance themselves, issuing carefully worded statements that hinted at a need for introspection and change. At a critical town hall meeting in Lubbock, Texas, the tension reached its peak. The auditorium was packed, every seat filled with constituents hungry for answers. A woman in her 60s, voice quivering with both anger and sorrow, stood up and asked a blunt question. "If you can say things so hurtful without remorse, how can we trust you to fight for us?" The question hung in the air, and for a long moment, Jasmine Crockett's eyes betrayed a flicker of uncertainty, an emotion she had long tried to hide behind bravado. Back in Fairfax, Cash Patel watched the unfolding drama with quiet satisfaction. He wasn't interested in shouting or flinging insults. His method was to let the facts speak for themselves. His video analysis, filled with meticulously documented evidence and a calm yet unyielding critique of Crockett's rhetoric, had become a rallying cry for those demanding true accountability from public officials. Finally, on a cool Monday morning, Crockett took the stage at a major public event at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. The auditorium was hushed, every attendee waiting to hear if she would finally address the backlash. The moderator, a local news anchor with a calm demeanor, asked the question that everyone had been waiting for. "Do you regret your words?" For a long, agonizing moment, Crockett remained silent, her gaze drifting over the expectant crowd. Then, in a measured tone that betrayed both defiance and an undercurrent of regret, she replied, "I regret that my words hurt some, but I stand by my commitment to speak truthfully about the issues that matter." Her response, though firm, failed to quell the storm. It only deepened the divide. That night, as digital headlines blazed and social media buzzed with heated debate, Cash Patel's video analysis continued to garner millions of views. His final words, spoken calmly and with piercing clarity, echoed through the digital ether. We need leaders who listen, reflect, and take responsibility for the power of their words. The message resonated across the country, from crowded urban centers to quiet rural towns. In the days that followed, the controversy evolved from a single misstep into a broader examination of public discourse, accountability, and the responsibilities of leadership. Political strategists, legal experts, and everyday citizens began questioning whether true leadership could coexist with unchecked arrogance. The conversation shifted from slogans and hashtags to a more profound inquiry. What does it mean to lead with both passion and responsibility? And when the cost of pride is human dignity, who ultimately pays the price? For Pam Bondi, that tumultuous period reaffirmed her mission. In a quiet moment, as she reviewed the day's event from her office window overlooking a rain-soaked Washington, she reflected, "Words are tools. They can build bridges or spark fires. Today, we saw what happens when those tools are wielded without accountability." Her resolve was unwavering. The fight for truth and accountability was far from over. If this story moves you, share it with someone who believes that true leadership demands accountability and empathy. Subscribe for more real stories that cut through the noise and reveal what genuine courage looks like when the stakes are highest.